Welcome to episode 135 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my co-host, Warren Sklar, is here. How you doing, Warren?
I am good. I am watching the snow and waiting for the Super Bowl today. Since we're recording on a Sunday today.
Another Sunday recording here as we record this on Super Sunday, and I had a bit of challenges at work this past week, so we kind of had a messed up schedule here for Thursday. So figured out we can't miss an episode, so we decided to
much going on.
Come out here. A lot going on. Yeah, now it's quiet down a little bit, so I can go back to have some more fun talking about technology.
A lot going on in the Apple world this week.
Oh yeah, all kinds of stuff. Beta and
new features.
And all kinds of other stuff. So yeah, it's just crazy. So, but let's just go ahead and dig in. We got news and we got beta to talk about, and I thought we would. You got a new Apple Watch. We'll talk about that in a little bit, as well as I thought we would revisit Apple One Bundle here 4 months later, see where people are at on that, and a couple tips here. So let's go in and dig into the news here. And Mac Room is, of course, our favorite source for news here. And first story was Apple TV Plus sees a record weekend viewership with the movie Palmer. And it saw its most watched weekend since it launched, according to an information company insiders with Variety Magazine. With the release of Justin Timberlake's movie Palmer on Friday, this was on end of January 29th. So it saw a 33% increase over average viewer numbers. And got other stuff like the new seasons of M. Night Shyamalan's show Servant, and Dickinson has been popular as well. But I must say this was a pretty incredible movie. I thought I saw it when it came out. The young boy that's in there, I forget his name. Juno Temple is in there. She was from. She of course is from Ted Lasso, and Ryder Allen, 9 years old, this kid, and he was just absolutely amazing. So did you see the movie?
Yeah, I did. My wife and I watched it the day it came out.
And your wife might have teared up a few times, I bet.
She is a Justin Timberlake fan, to say the least.
Okay.
I wouldn't say super fan. She's a Bon Jovi super fan, but she likes Justin Timberlake. Yeah. And I mean, it was good. It was a good movie. It was entertaining. It was it was. It had a good story, and pretty Apple-like. And it was cool. Cool seeing the girl from Ted Lasso playing a completely different role and losing the British.
It was totally different.
Losing the British accent. No spoilers. Yeah, losing the British accent was the most interesting part of that too. She pegged down the American accent, I guess.
It seems like that there's British actors that seem to do a good job of losing their accents. I know I watch Chicago Fire on NBC, and there's a number of actors. I think two of them are from Australia, and you wouldn't even know they got the Chicago accent down pat.
I'm guessing American accents. I'm guessing American accents are easier to manipulate than the other way around. But
the other way around, yeah. So
yeah, it was good. Definitely a good show.
Yeah, I definitely we highly recommend go check out that movie. I might even want to watch it again. It was just such a great movie to see. So it was maybe
not for the kids so much. It's got a little of the language in there and a little bit of the I think it's
TV 14 if I recall. That was what the rating was, something like. So you want to not something with the young kids, but check it out. It was a good movie. And I'm glad to see that Apple is doing really good with Apple TV with their content. So, next story, this actually kind of is a macOS, but it relates to HomePod. Last week, Apple released the first beta of macOS 11.3. So that was updated to developers. I believe it's also with public beta now. Among the features I was very interested in was the ability to being able to finally add a pair of HomePods as default sound input. It drove me absolutely crazy that I would want to go to my Mac. I want to listen to this, and I can only do the left HomePod or the right HomePod. I can't listen to both in pair. So they finally came up in macOS Big Sur 11.3 beta that it now displays as a single option for this. And Of course, the one Mac Mini M1 I was trying to do it with, I ended up having to doing a full erase and restart because it was all messed up when I updated it to 11.3. So that's the world of beta, and that's also good because I have an extra machine to do that with. So
did you do it? Did you restore that?
I tried restoring it. I tried restoring my second M1, and it would not. The sound was a mess, and system preferences would freeze, and so I just decided to do a boot nuke and pave and start over. And it actually it still had the recovery partition from the macOS the beta, the 11.3, so I didn't have to go to 11.2 and then go to 11.3. So, but what did you think? You tried it out?
I tried it. It sounded like should. It was coming from the two speakers. It sounds like if you do it from your iPhone, it's basically the same thing. If you click on, in Big Sur now, you got to click on the switches on the very top there, and then you go into sound. And you click on your little AirPlay icon, and you'll see basically what you named the pair listed as one of your options. In my case, living room, which encompasses the two HomePods I have.
Yep. Only thing I found was there was, as typical with using Bluetooth speakers on the Mac, is the delay. I mean, I would go like a YouTube page, and if I would play a YouTube video, it would be completely out of sync. But I did experience it though, actually, in some cases where it was playing. Both speakers were off, so it wasn't in sync. So it was playing through both speakers, but so I didn't
test very long, but yeah, I could believe it.
I would not. I was not surprised at being beta that it's probably they got some work to do. So, but again, those who don't use beta, this will be coming soon. So something to look forward to with the HomePod. So
HomePod sales are kind of boom.
Yes, they are.
Buying that extra speaker now, so they could do that.
Get two HomePod minis.
Yeah.
So, next story, again, Mac rumors. Shazam for the iPhone gains a home screen widget in its latest update. Of course, Shazam is owned by Apple. They bought it a few years ago. This is version 14.4 for Shazam, and it was released this past week. And the latest update brings a new widget to the iPhone home screen where you can see your recent song history at a glance. And it's got all three sizes available: the small square, the medium square, or if you want the large square in the widget. And if you're a big Shazam user, this is already they've added the Shazam feature in the control center where you can turn it on and actually it could be listening. So Apple's really starting to do smart things and integrate Shazam into the OS more and more. Have you tried this?
I'm not a big Shazamer. I don't seem to find music I need to know the name of. If I don't know the name of it, and it's most likely I don't like it. So
yeah, well, Shazam's been around for a long time. And I remember it was like one of the first apps I downloaded when I first got my iPhone years and years ago.
Oh, the novelty was great. Yeah.
But Apple, I think, was smart buying it because it's definitely a different way of doing things with music. But they track, of course, you're going to be tracking what you listen to and all that fun stuff. So, but sometimes people like that because it does create a list of all things that you asked to listen to, and then you can go back and listen to it later. So, and of course, it links right to Apple Music. So, it works out really well. So, next story. This is in Apple Insider. Actually, Microsoft takes on Keychain with an autofill feature on iOS and macOS. Microsoft is taking on Apple's Keychain. Well, I think anything can take on Apple's Keychain, honestly, by bringing in its autofill system of password storage synchronization to iOS in the form of an update to the Microsoft Authenticator app and a Google Chrome extension on the Mac. So the autofill is similar in concept as Keychain with many other password managers on the market. So if it can store and automatically insert account credentials for various apps, services, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I use Microsoft Authenticator for work because we use that for authentication for our passwords when they have to be reset. So I think this is a good thing. I like to see things continue on. There's so many authenticators out there, Google and others. Do you use the Microsoft Authenticator app?
I use it for work. I have to get Microsoft Authenticator.
Is that like me? Okay.
Yeah, and I also have Gmail Authenticator for a different job I consult out for here and there, and for my personal stuff. So whenever I sign into a new device on either Microsoft or Google, it will prompt me and give me a key or a token. Now you use that. But as far as the password manager, you know, the other story, I don't know if it's listed there, but Apple is releasing their version of iCloud password manager for Chrome on Windows, which is a similar concept. And you know, like I told you a little closer. I told you that I switched over to LastPass not that long ago.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah,
and you use the other one, Password One.
I use one password. I've been a 1Password user for a long time.
So, you know, it's a subscription. You know, I'm wondering if, you know, eventually with the things Apple and Microsoft are doing, is it, you know, kind of over, you know, is it going to Sherlock these paid services if they get really good at it? So
very possible. It's been talked about for years. I know there was rumors about maybe Apple even considering buying 1Password at some one point. That obviously never came to be. So,
right.
But this definitely is a market that's huge. With info security as big as it is these days, I would not be at all surprised. A lot of authenticator apps out there. So,
and they're going to be. I mean, but even with LastPass and any of these, it forced me to really go in and change a lot of my weak passwords. It really tells you what is weak.
It does.
And all browsers do that now. It's not just, you know, the paid things, but, you know, if you go to, you know, Safari definitely does it. Chrome does it. Edge does it. A whole bunch of them will tell you that these passwords are been used or compromised, or they're weak, or they're repeated. So, you know, that's basically what they want you to create a complex password. And they know people are stupid and they don't remember these passwords. So this is why you got these apps coming out from Microsoft and Apple.
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, 1Password even has Watchtower, which actually gives you reports every time you open it and tells you, is there a vulnerability at that specific site? Is there, do you have a repeated password? Has this password been listed as a on one of those sites that gets passwords? So it's, that's what's one of the good things about having these managers in essence. Like I said, I think it'd be interesting to see what Microsoft does with this. If they go beyond just an authenticator, could they do password management too? So
yeah.
It's going to be interesting. And then last story we got this week, I wanted to make sure I brought this up. This actually just was posted today as we record this. Medical doctors are underlying potential risk of iPhone 12 interference with pacemakers. Apple did send off a warning that you need to keep the iPhone 12 away from cardiac devices due to electromagnetic interference. That was featured on the line by U.S. cardiologists in the past week's new report. Apple iPhone's 12 series include an array of magnets that help align the phone on Apple's MagSafe charging accessory to maximize charging. And Apple already advises users that implanted pacemakers and defibrillators to keep the iPhone and MagSafe accessories a safe distance away. They even tested the extent of this risk, and so they had confirmed that it could potentially cause a problem. What'd you think of this?
Yeah, it came out that news came out and then it went away and then it came back. I guess they want to double down on this. I mean, I think if you have these devices, you know, there's a lot of things that could cause this. You know, I've seen signs saying this could interfere with your pacemaker. So, you know, magnets are magnets. Just be careful. Yeah,
for sure. So, all right, let's move on to the topics. First topic this is more of a PSA reminder here. If you haven't already, and I'm sure Warren will join me with this, please make sure you've updated your iPhone and iPads to iOS and iPadOS 14.4. It does have 3 pretty serious security flaws that are out there. I think we did mention it last week. You definitely want to make sure that you've updated it because you don't want you to have any vulnerabilities that are opened up. That Apple really did confirm that. Would you not agree with that statement?
If not beta, then go with the latest update. That's what I always say.
Right. Most don't go beta, unlike you.
No.
So speaking of beta, let's go ahead and move on to beta this week. iOS 14.5 beta 1 came out this past week, and so you're excited. The big announcement, and that's been all over the news and long time coming here, is the ability of being able to unlock your iPhone with Face ID while wearing a mask. And what it does is it uses your Apple Watch. It senses that you have your Apple Watch on your wrist, and it will unlock your iPhone. And we're going to talk about you and your experience with the Apple Watch here just a second here after this. But when it did work, it works good for you, right?
It works great. Basically, if you're wearing a mask, you look at the phone. It takes about a second, if that. You look at it, and basically your watch will give you haptic feedback saying that it's unlocked, and it's unlocked.
Yep.
And it works every time. So it works well. I mean, people are a little concerned about the security because it's not really seeing your full face, but it has to see your partial face, and your watch has to be on your wrist and unlocked. So
right.
the odds are pretty good that it's going to be you.
Pretty good. Now, one caveat, and as we were listening to Mac Egab and Dave Hamilton this past week, Dave did mention that he tried it. That of course it's not going to unlock things like your Apple Card and like the wallet and those kind of more secure things, because that flat out is going to require that it sees your face when it's unlocking those, especially when you're paying for something or using the passcode, of course.
I think eventually, if this continues, it might do that eventually. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, you can't do Apple Pay with it." I'm like, but you're wearing the watch, so you have the watch. Yeah. Use the watch for Apple Pay.
Yeah, well, I would, if they can come up with a good secure way that satisfies the security of that, I would not be at all surprised. So the way to go in and actually turn this on, and we have numerous links I've put in the show notes from Mac Rumors that has done some really good coverage here, but specifically how to turn on the Apple Watch unlocking. You go into this under settings, and then under Face ID and passcode, and then in there's going to be a setting to turn on and unlock the Apple with Apple Watch, and you can turn that on. And then if you look at the Apple Watch when it occurs, it's going to actually show on your watch that you are going to be able to unlock with the Apple Watch, and away you go. So, and as it says, as we just mentioned, it cannot be used for Apple Pay or any App Store purchases. That's another thing that didn't mention, that it won't work at this time. Still needs a full Face ID scan. Other feature is dual SIM 5G support. As most of you know, the iPhones all have what's called an eSIM, electronic SIM that's built into the phone. So you use that, and that's what I use as my primary SIM in my iPhone 12 Pro Max. But if those of you who want to be able to have the capability of adding a second line, because some business folks out there do required to have a second line, and crazy enough, they carry around 2 and 3 phones to do that. But of course, we're not traveling much lately. But this now has the capability of now putting in a second SIM, and it will also be 5G on that line as well. So, did you get your iPhone? Is that set for the eSIM on your phone?
Yeah, I still have the normal SIM. I've used. Have I used the eSIM while traveling? I did use the eSIM while traveling, not with the 12, but I think with my 11 when we were able to travel. I've been making sure to keep it on the eSIM, so then I have that slot open just in case. Yep.
And then other things that were added was AirPlay 2 for Fitness Plus, which is good news that'll be coming in 14.5 for the iPad and in WatchOS 7.4. They'll be enabling AirPlay 2 support for Apple Fitness Plus, allowing the subscribers to AirPlay their workouts to a compatible AirPlay 2 enabled smart TV or set-top box. So the workouts can now be put on a big screen without you having to have an Apple TV. If you don't have one, you can now put it on your big screen through your smart TV that has AirPlay 2 support. So have you tried that at all? I
haven't. Still not tried the fitness app yet. So.
You haven't. Well, we'll talk about that in the bundle here. We'll talk about that in a minute here. Nor have I. Expanded controller supports. Now with 14.5, you now can use the latest PlayStation 5 DualSense and Xbox Series X controllers with the iPhone and the iPad. And it's more than likely that Apple TV will support the new controllers with their the tvOS 14.5 update as well. Other thing that was also seen through some code that's in 14.5, but nothing really officially was mentioned, the fact that Apple will add a new feature that allow multiple people to use the same Apple Card account, which will let family members share a single card. The main Apple Card account holder will then be able to invite family members to use the Apple Card account. Hey, what a concept. They've been doing family sharing for how long now? And still not to have, two accounts. I mean, my wife and I both have Apple Cards. Maybe it might not be a bad thing because she's making purchases, I'm making purchases. Don't have to see what we're doing, right? So I wasn't going to go there, but yeah, I was thinking. Okay. I don't mind.
I've been thinking
that's okay. I don't mind at all.
This is one feature I'm not going to use. This sharing thing.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd probably do the same thing.
Right. Unless I accidentally, I give it to her and she doesn't know, and I just get the 2% cash back and she doesn't know about it. But
yeah, there you go. So it's in the code, but nothing has been set live as of yet in beta. So Siri emergency calls. Another feature is saying that iOS 14.5 is kind of a feature allow S Lady to call emergency services with a "Hey S Lady, call emergency" command. This appears to also work in earlier versions of iOS, so it might be just a server side change, so that's going to make it available. Then, of course, security, privacy is going to be a big thing in iOS 14.5. Developers will need to ask and receive the user's permission to access random advertising identifier, which is used to track activity across apps, across websites. They show example like NBA and Reuters is in the picture here, that you can turn on those apps and do you want them to allow the track, yes or no, and you can turn it off. That's of course been such a major debate. It also has a pop-up that when the app first opens to ask you allow or not allow to track companies' apps and websites on there as well. So have you looked at, have you tried that at all?
I haven't seen it. I haven't actively seen it yet. So okay. I guess I'll need to install an app that I haven't already installed. Maybe.
Right.
Not sure how that comes up. Yeah.
Well, there's two apps right there as the examples, NBA and Reuters. You could try those two.
Yeah. Well, I've seen the screenshots. I know what it's going to look like. So
yeah. So, and then the podcast app had some minor design changes that were made.
I don't like them.
I kind of you don't like them? Okay, tell us more.
Well, it ties into my whole watch story, but I'll get to that. I just don't like the layout of it. It makes it harder to go to it and just play your list. I have a playlist, and it was a lot easier just to start it. The buttons are a little more; they're a little harder to push, especially when you're driving to do podcasts. They're smaller in some areas. It just doesn't work as well as the old one did. Maybe I'll just have to get used to it, like the muscle memory. But just sometimes I'll go in my list and play a playlist, and I'll hit the second one out of 5, and the third one doesn't start playing after the second one. So that could be a beta thing, but it's just I don't like the design so much either. I don't know, not a fan.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've never really been a big fan of Apple Podcast app at all because Pocket Cast is my de facto podcast player of choice. But
right. I might change.
But it's definitely an interesting way if they change things. They're kind of making it very similar to a lot of other apps they have. So the Reminders app now has an option to sort lists by due date, creation date, priority, or title. Plus, there's an option to print a reminder list. What a concept. So you can actually send a checklist to a printer if you actually want it on paper. These days you want to keep it electronic, but you got that option. You played around with that at all?
I'm looking now. Select by, sort by, yeah, print. It's all there. I never had the desire to do either, but now I can.
Yeah. absolutely. And then the News Plus app, which we're both subscribers of, now has a redesign with a For You feature that makes it easier to get to the browser tab, as well as a new search feature, which is what a concept, finally, where you can actually go in the search tab and actually search for anything you're looking for in News Plus. Just by typing in, it goes to channels, topics, or stories. And there's a button right at the bottom. Just tap search. And I did try that, and that seemed to work very well. So, anything on that?
No, I haven't looked at that yet. I mean, I read the news app every night, and I haven't noticed it. So, I like, there's a topics app. I don't know if topics area that I have been following is where I go. So that hasn't changed much. I have a following list in my news app, and I usually just go under technology, and that's what I do every night. So that's about it.
Okay. And then the last thing was nothing of earth shattering, but the fact now that the horizontal loading screen on the iPad is now happening, where the logo will actually show up horizontal. If you're let's say you're using the Magic Keyboard and have it in horizontal mode, it would always be, vertical, which was kind of weird.
Yeah. For all those people that reboot their iPads every day. So.
Yeah, exactly. So, but maybe the orientation will probably be a little better when it comes to that. So, as far as WatchOS 7.4, don't see other than the support of the Face ID. Did you see anything that stands out? I didn't see anything.
No, seems the same. Yeah, I put it on my. I'll get to it, but yeah, there's two people in my house now that have this beta, and we haven't noticed anything. So,
I think the same thing with tvOS, as we always say. There's really nothing going on with tvOS here.
Nope.
Other than the fact I didn't put this in here that YouTube is pulling support for the Series 3 Apple TVs. So those are slowly dying a slow death. It's almost better you have a fourth gen or the 4K versions of the Apple TV at this point, because I think that you can't load many apps on there. They're preloaded on the Series 3. You're probably going to be better off.
If you need a cheaper AirPlay device, I still have a few laying around the house. Some are plugged in, some aren't. But if you ever need, if you have a TV that doesn't have AirPlay, and you could use that, you could put in, a guest room for some content, I guess. But yeah, they're going away.
Yeah, well, I've got one sitting in a box here, and plus I've got two other Apple TV, the 4K version and then the fourth gen version. It's just not worth it anymore. I pulled it out a couple weeks ago just to see it, and it's like, this interface is horrible because I'm so used to.
I haven't even looked at it. Yeah, I haven't even looked in a while. I'm kind of remembering it now, though. But the remote was a little better.
Yeah, it just had that silver remote. It didn't have the touch button on it. So I'm still using that Function 101 remote that I reviewed a while ago.
That still works for you?
It still works. It doesn't. I still don't like the fact that you don't have the touch on it to move, and of course the S Lady ability. Yeah. So maybe someone will come up with another more multifunction remote that they can add that, but probably will add to the cost too. But yep. So those who have the Series 3, it's dying a slow death.
R.I.P.
Yes. So let's go ahead and move on to your ordeal. So you had the Series 5 watch before, right?
I did. So I had the Series 5.
And you upgraded to the Series 6. What prompted you to do that, and tell us what happened?
All right. So I'll make it as quick as possible, but
no, take your time.
So I had a Series 5, and then the beta, came out with the Face ID and the Apple Watch, and I updated my phone and I updated my watch, and I'm like, this is the best thing in the world. I love this. Especially, my job, I work in healthcare, so I'm always wearing my mask, and I'm always on my phone because I'm doing IT work. So it's great. So I wanted this, and this was last week when it dropped. So I was happy, but my podcast app was crashed. The new podcast app that's on the phone would crash at the time I started playing a podcast. So I'm like, well, that's not good. I kind of want the podcast too. So I did what I always I've done many times before. And basically I made a iCloud backup on my phone. I wiped it and did a restore. And, sometimes that, fixes things like the crashing. And it did actually fix the crashing on the podcast app. But what it did do is it broke the connection between my phone and my watch only in the setting that turns on the Face ID for the watch. So if I go, if I go into the watch app, everything sees everything. My watch could unlock my Mac, not a problem. My phone and my watch were paired in every other method possible, except when you went to turn on the option to turn on Face ID with the Apple Watch, it said can't communicate with the watch. I've unpaired and repaired the phone, the watch. I reinstalled the phone OS like 2 more times. I reinstalled the WatchOS. I did. I signed out iCloud on both devices because I read that could be it, Bluetooth and all that connection. I did like everything I could think of to pull this together. And I know it's beta 1, and I know probably next week it would be fixed anyways. So I was upset, but I knew, probably by the next beta it will be fixed. I submitted a bug report on it. I haven't heard anything about it. But then my son came to me, unrelated. He said, sometimes he has a Series 4 44-inch with the cell on it that I gave to him. I handed him down that when I got the 5, and he said sometimes my watch doesn't lose a connection with the phone, but not always. He's like, I should probably get a new one. I'm like, how about this? How about I get the 6? I'll give you my 5. Just don't tell mom. And he said, okay. So we went to do that. And for me, I, of course, put my brand new watch 6 on the beta because I wanted that feature, which scared the hell out of me. But so I did that, and now I'm working perfectly. Since my watch was on the beta and he was not on the beta program, I had to put his phone on the latest public beta so he could communicate with the watch. And that's kind of working so far. He has one app that's not working. So hopefully my plan is to get him off the beta is when, the beta and public meet again. And then the only issue now is, so Apple has a thing for Heart Month where they'll give you a little extra money for a trade-in. So I did the trade-in with Apple for the 4 that he had. So my only dilemma now is they're giving me $160 for it. I'm debating whether I should keep it as a spare just in case, I want to use that as a beta thing in the future. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. And it was just, I guess if something's working in beta, don't mess with it because it might stop working.
I don't know how many times I've said that to you, but
yeah, well, I mean,
but you want to try it, and I don't blame you. But Dave Hamilton says that he doesn't normally dive into beta, and he really wanted that feature. So,
I'll tell you, friends. The Friday I went to work, and yesterday my wife and I went to the mall for the first time in a while that we wanted to do, and this face unlock feature was just like you said, it's game changing. It is. It's just like being able to use my phone without pulling down my mask is every time is just the way it should be. And that's why I think Apple's going to see this and they're going to allow this to happen on, I'm not sure about, probably not Apple Pay, because again, you can use your watch for that. Right. But so, I have some apps that require Face ID, like banking apps that I go into that I would love to have that feature enabled for those as well.
Well, that's the thing. You've tried it with banking apps. I'm sure that's not going to work.
No,
I have to have.
Yeah, it only works unlocking the phone. That's it. It doesn't do anything.
And that's it. Yeah. So let's stress that's the only thing you're going to get an advantage of, because I have to have Outlook locked with Face ID because of work. That's not going to work.
All the authenticators use the Face ID. The Microsoft authenticators.
So it really is just adding one of the most beneficial features is opening up the phone without having to get into the phone, and that's the most valuable of it all. Doing that, so and it is valuable, and I'm guessing, if I had to guess, Apple is going to try to push this out as quick as possible. I'm thinking this beta cycle is not going to last that long because
the word's out. Like I saw this on a news story too.
It's all mainstream media is picking up the story.
So the news is out, and Apple knows that people want this, and they're not gonna. This is not like one of those features that like what was in iOS 11 where we were waiting for something with the camera. Remember with the there was a feature with the camera that we couldn't wait till it happened, and then it finally happened. But that was it wasn't something like that. This is major, and this is
big game changer.
It's just with the environment today, this is what people have been asking for. So
yeah, and while we're talking about the Apple Watch, and you went ahead and got the Series 6, which is the most current. I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about, there's 3 model watches out there right now. There's the Series 6, which you got, and as well as one I have. Oh, by the way, did you get the one with cellular or without?
I got it without the cellular. I never use it.
Yeah,
but it's but I got the same exact color, but I got a nice the green sports loop.
Okay. Well, you got another band, so
I got another band. Yeah, that's so. But I kind of always wanted to try it. It's pretty nice. It's it's good. Well,
so but I highly recommend the 6. I think it's, and then I'll talk about this because you basically have 3 models that are out there right now. You have the Series 6, you have the watch, the SE model, which was the little lower end, and they're still selling the watch Series 3, surprisingly enough. The Series 4, of course, went away. So you can kind of understand why the Apple Watch is dominating the sales because of its economics and some of the features that people may not like it. One of the shortcomings with the Series 3, of course, is still going to be battery life because the battery doesn't last anywhere near as long as the Series 6 does when it comes to that. The trade-offs with the Series 6, other than the fact that it's affordable and doesn't have it doesn't have all the fitness stuff. It doesn't have the heart monitoring, a lot of the other stuff. There's no LTE in the Series 3 if you want to have the watch built into it. Now, versus the SE, where it does have a good balance of the price and the features, and costs a little more than the Series 3, but you have a little faster chip, bigger, brighter screen, louder speaker, fall detection. But it's and it does have an LTE version of that, but it doesn't have any of the health features. So if you're really into doing all the health stuff with the Apple Watch, the SE is not going to be the one you want to go with. So then that brings us up into the Series 6, which starts at $399, and it works really well. Now it's got the always on feature on the Apple Watch, which take it or leave it. I don't know. This is new for you too, right? Because you had the 5, so now the 6 has always on.
No, the 5 had always on too.
Oh, that's right. The 5 did have it.
Yeah.
So that's going to give you a little bit of differences as far as that goes. It's got the built-in ECG app on your wrist, so you can check in the electrical cardiogram for heart monitoring. Of course, that's not the de facto for what doctors say, but it at least gives you a guidance of it. So
it's got blood
but
oxygen.
They still say that, then the blood oxygen level 2 is the other one. Yep.
Which I don't understand at all. It tells me I'm okay, but I guess I guess it's good.
I think I just did it. I thought something came up, and I noticed I didn't check it. Oh yeah, I was at 97%. So I don't know why it was popping up here earlier. So that's really the big differences. So you're looking as far as pricing goes, the Series 3 at its low end, I've seen it for $169. If you want to just get into the Apple Watch, that's not a bad watch to dive into. And it does have slightly smaller face. The 3, it's got the 38 and the 42, whereas the SE and the 6 have the 40 and 44. I don't think there's any subtle differences. The bands are all the same. So, but the material is just for the SE and the Series 3 is all aluminum. I stayed with aluminum too because stainless steel and titanium is more money. So, again, Series 6 is the only one that has always on. And
5 does too. 5 and 6.
Well, they don't sell the 5 anymore. I'm looking at the 3 models that are current. But yeah, the 5 did have it. Yep. And a lot of other features, of course. Storage, the Series 3 only has 8 gigs, whereas the SE and the 6 is going to have 32 gigs. If you're one that like to bring like music and stuff with you without having your iPhone, it comes into place. So, but it's I just wanted to give that little review of the Apple Watch and what would be the best for what your needs are. So you went with the 6, so I'm sure you're happy. And then now your son has the 5, right?
Yeah. So we're both happy. I mean, the performance is definitely faster on the 6 than it was on the 5. But not by a lot. But you notice it's snappier. You got the 6 too, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I have the 6. Yeah.
And you had the 5 like I did. So, I mean,
I had the 4. I went from the 4 to the 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went to the 5 to the 6, and even then it's still a little bit snappier. It's, everything's kind of instant when you push it, whereas the previous one was a slight delay, but, not by much. And yeah, just like you, I always get the, when they first came, I've had every series, like probably almost like you have, but except for
other than the 5, that's the only one I haven't had.
Yeah, I had them all, and when I first started, I got the stainless steel ones, and I realized it's nice. It's
what?
Nice.
You didn't get the gold Series 0?
No, I wanted it. Actually,
17,000. Yeah,
the ceramic one is what I really wanted, but I never got it. That white ceramic. But yeah, I stopped doing it. So because the resale value didn't change that much. Because once the technology is, out of date, then it didn't matter what the material was. So, yeah.
If I remember that correctly, the trade-in for the Series 4, I think I got almost $200 for it, so which wasn't bad, considering.
I got and you did that a while ago, so we got.
It was a while ago, yeah. It was last year. Yeah.
We got 160 now for
still
Series 4, which is not bad. But again, I might keep it, so we'll see how it goes.
It might give you a good extra beta device, especially the 4 isn't available anymore. So
right, and it runs all the versions of WatchOS as of now.
Yep. So let's go on. Our other topic I wanted to bring up this week is the Apple One bundle. I haven't heard too many people talk about it as of late. It's been 4 months since Apple released it, October of 2020. And we still wondered, I still asked that same question, is the bundle still worth it? We really want to talk through what the value of it is, and has it become a value? Now, one of the things that Apple did with Apple TV Plus subscribers, and I'm wondering, didn't see a credit last month. I'm hoping to see it next month. Is they are going to continue to give credit refunds for those who were starting to pay for Apple TV Plus until at least June of 2021. There's a story linked from Apple Insider talking about this. January 15th, Apple increased the length of time in its 1-year free trial of Apple TV with a second extension to run from February. So I guess that's why we didn't see a credit, because it was January and we just got billed for, until July. So this change allows anybody who started the free trial from November 2019, which I did. We only got the new iPhone, and June 2020 to receive up to extra 5 months of service. So it looks like we are, and you and I are both, because we're on the Premier plan, are going to get credit for Apple TV Plus for a few months, which is not a bad deal. Huh? You can't complain. What do you think?
No, I mean, I don't think I'm getting credit. I don't know. It changed so much that I don't even know if I'm getting credit or not. I know I got the free trial of Apple TV. I've never paid for Apple TV separately. That is what I know. So right. I've never actually paid for the service of Apple TV.
Nor did I.
I either got it for free or as part of my bundle now. So one or the other. Right. But go ahead.
They did say that it's going to be for those who are in the bundle. You're going to get credit for that too.
All right.
So we'll get a little bit of a credit from what I read.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad it's, I think I would keep it. If it wasn't in a bundle, I would still subscribe to the Apple TV at this point. My wife liked the movie we just watched. Like I said, the Justin Timberlake thing. She's excited. She's excited for the Mankind show to come back. So she's excited for it. That's next month, I think. It's coming. So, all this, there's a few shows we watched in the first season that she liked. So it's a keeper.
Yep. Absolutely. And I've been happy with the Premier plan. I mean, let's go back and just kind of review the three plans that that are still available. You have the individual, the family, and the Premier. The individual was $14.95 a month. You save $6 over these four services, which includes Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, Arcade, and iCloud, 50 gigabytes. Not a game changer. If you aren't into having some of those other services, for $6, there isn't going to be much of a difference there, especially only getting 50 gigs for an individual. For an individual, I guess that's a fair amount, but it really depends what your needs are. Then if you move up to the family plan, you get at $19.95 a month. You save $8 over the same four services, but increases your iCloud to 200 gigs. But now this gives you a family plan. You can share it with up to 5 other people beside yourself. That covers music, TV Plus, Arcade, and iCloud, 200 gigs. But then you move over to the Premier plan, with you and I both have. That's $29.95 a month, and you add all those up, that's $25 difference in price for Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, Arcade, Apple Arcade, but you get 2 terabytes of iCloud storage. But then you also get News Plus and you get Fitness Plus, which we'll talk about Fitness Plus in just a sec. But I find that's a pretty gosh darn good value. I mean, I haven't really played a lot of Arcade. Have you done anything with Arcade lately? Games?
And I do try. I go in there and I pick a game that I think I might want, and I try it, and I'm like, all right, it was all right, but I usually delete it right off the phone. They're large. They're very large. The games in size, and they're not. You have to dedicate some time to most of them. Kind of like games where you just don't have to dedicate that much time in your life to, that you could just kind of play here and there. So and I'm not really a gamer. I got an Oculus Quest too, and everybody's loves the games on there, and I'm just here like looking at Google Earth and playing poker on it, and like most of it's like couch sitting stuff. So I just like kind of like time wasting kind of games. So it's not really for me. Yeah.
So, but it's part of the bundle, and all the other value of News Plus is, again, as you said before, your wife is very heavy using the News Plus. So but do you find value in it? I know she does, of course.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
I do too.
We keep the News Plus. I mean, we're using everything except for the Arcade and the Fitness at this point, and even if you priced it all out separately without those two, it's still a better value. So
it's still better value, right?
And I've said this before too, and with the wife, probably a lot of people, seeing one charge on your bill for a bunch of things compared to seeing a bunch of charges, even if the bunch of charges is less than that one charge, sends a red flag to people. Like, why we're paying for this, we're paying for this, we're paying for this. Why are we paying for all these things? Whereas you just say Apple bundle, she's like, all right, well, there's something in there that we need, I guess. So it's a psychological thing as well.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. So it definitely, so I still think after these many months later, I think it's still a good value. It's obviously entirely up to your decision. But we both highly recommend, I think the Premier plan is the best value. The iCloud storage is probably, to me, the best part of it. Just getting the 2 terabytes. Yeah. And speaking of the iCloud, I actually wanted to. I just had a family sharing experience yesterday. I was over talking to my mother-in-law, and she had her iPad and her iPhone. Both were saying that she's it's her devices hadn't backed up since last year. Like, okay, because she's the type that doesn't do much. She's using her iPad to play games and minimal stuff. Same thing with her iPhone, but does gosh darn good using both those devices for her age. She has an Apple Watch as well. So I went ahead and I said, let me go ahead and I'll just add you to the family sharing. So I still had some spots left, because you get 5 other spots. And so sure enough, I went in and just, I went into the family sharing under the settings, And I said, I want to invite somebody. So I invited her, and I picked her up where her phone was nearby, and I texted to her and sent the invite. She pressed it. I pressed it, and sure enough, within a matter of seconds, she was in my family. So she has access to everything. She probably won't use everything, but the primary reason I did it was because of the iCloud space. But then I got 2 terabytes that's definitely going to make a difference. So the family sharing does seem to work out pretty well. I still wish I'm back in the old school days of having 2 Apple IDs, one for purchases and one for that I at the time was using just for iCloud storage. But the Apple will never allow you to merge them. I don't think that'll ever happen. Don't you think? It's a shame.
One day I'll tell you the story of my Apple account I had in London because it was 2 different countries.
Oh, right.
That's still open, and I can't. There's no way to close it because they show I have a credit on there, but you can't. I have a credit on there, but I don't have a bank account linked to it anymore because I don't have that bank account because I'm not there anymore. They can't close it out. I'm like, you got to close the thing out. They're like, we can't figure it out. An advisor was actually supposed to call me back and never did. So I have 2 accounts, and one I can't even close because I have a credit.
There's so money in there.
There's like 19 pounds in there. So I don't know what to do with it. Yeah.
At least it's not a huge amount, but
no,
still.
It's just annoying to have another Apple ID out there,
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's a whole nother topic with the Apple IDs. They can tend to be a headache at times. So, but great story, and it's a great option as far as a family sharing. Family sharing does come in handy if you want to share a couple of your slots. If you have them open and you want to share with one of your loved ones, you can, and it works out really well. So. Let's. I have a couple tips here. I wanted to talk about taking a screenshot of a website and saving it as a PDF. Have you done this before?
No, I have not.
You've never done this before? Okay.
I've taken screenshots and just copied and pasted into things, but I never had to do that. No.
So the way to do this is, normally how you take a screenshot, you push the power button on the side and the volume up button, and then you get a screenshot. Then it gives you a preview. You go to it. Now at the very top, and I'll have some screenshots here in the show notes. It has 2 choices: the screen or a full page. So if you tap full page, what it's going to do is it'll actually do a full page of that particular website. And then what you do is you tap done. And then it's going to have one other option there for you: save PDF to files. So if I tap save PDF to files, it's going to prompt you where do you want to put it in iCloud, and there it is. Voila! It's a PDF that's stored, and you can name it whatever you want in files, and it does have that option available, which is pretty cool. So you might have that option that you want to have a screenshot of that particular web page to go back and refer to it in a PDF. So it's one good tip. Yep. And then go ahead.
No, it's a good one. I like
the other tip. Yeah, no, yeah. I really think that comes in really handy using that. So, and then the other one is if you go to a website, sometimes you might get into a situation where you need to request a desktop version of a website. So you can do that because if you go to some websites and it's got the mobile version, and sometimes the mobile version is a little more limited than you really want it to be. Airline sites are probably very common like that because maybe you needed to go in there and do that later. So I went to Southwest Airlines is probably one of them there, and it's a mobile version. So if you go up this is in Safari, if you go up to where the URL is and there's an icon that shows 2 A's, tap it. Gives you an option there that says request desktop website. And what it does is it'll translate the site over. Now, of course, you got to zoom to pinch to be able to see it. But it does have the option to now be a full out desktop version of that. Have you used that for any websites?
I have, yeah, definitely. I think, can't remember offhand, but there's definitely a few that just weren't working on the mobile version. So I'm like, what am I going to do? And it came to me. I said, yeah, let's try it, and it works. So if you come across a site that is just not acting right, it's definitely worth a try.
Absolutely. So 2 quick tips there this week. And then lastly, I have an app and actually a service I wanted to talk about really quick. Discovery. You're familiar with Discovery. Discovery has a new service called Discovery Plus. And they have an app that's available on all over. It doesn't integrate really well with your cable provider. So I think Discovery, this is one of the first services I've seen that have, unlike like HBO Max and others that integrate with your subscription. Well, this is a separate standalone service that's out there, and Discovery Plus has an app that is actually very robust, and they also have a lot of great original content that's available, including I watched a great movie from Guy Fieri. It was a documentary about the restaurant industry and how he was able to raise $24 million for restaurant workers, which I thought was a pretty amazing thing. And then a lot of the documentaries like the Jean Benet Ramsey story, movie was called Restaurant Hustle 2020, and they interviewed. They were following 4 different restaurateurs around the country. So they got a lot of great original content. In fact, you can watch the Puppy Bowl today as we're recording this, because I know that's exciting. People want to watch that instead of the Super Bowl.
We do watch that sometimes. So.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be on, actually it's on as we're recording this, as I read this. So you have to go watch that now. So Discovery Plus, they have a 7-day free trial. You can check it out. And then they have 2 subscription tiers. It's $4.99 for with commercials and then $6.99 without commercials. So we're going to try it out for a while. My wife is really liking a lot of the content, I thought, and I knew she would enjoy it. So, another way of watching it. But like I said, it's hard to integrate to some of the devices. We're using it in the Apple TV, and some people are challenged using the Apple TV. So definitely an interesting way to do it. So, all right, I think we've wrapped up everything we can do in this. Unless you guys anything else you wanted to bring up today?
Oh, I'm good.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap things up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. You can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways listed to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. Warren, thanks for being here. Thanks for coming on and adjusting to the schedule, and anything going on in Mac to the future this week.
No, not too much. Talking about some of the car news, obviously that's big out there. Talking about the M1 Max, the article that came out about the M1 Max versus chip versus Intel, and Intel unfairly compared it to it's the Mac chip, and just nice conversations this week.
Go out there. We've got a link in our show notes under Warren's bio, and join us. We open it up. We got over 3,000 members plus, and we have a lot of fun talking about Apple and Mac and all that other fun stuff. So thanks for being here, and I want to thank everybody here for listening. I really appreciate it, and we appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again soon.